Live. Hello, this is
Hello.
Makiko from Reiki Labs. Thank you so much for coming. Today we talk about sacred neutrality. We have a wonderful panel member here. The majority of them are Brain Trust Group, as well as a lovely, lovely member, Christy. So we're going to go around the table. Perhaps just your name and where you are joining from. Let's start with, start with myself, Makiko, New Jersey. And Zachary.
Zach Lu. I'm in the 32nd parallel of Mother Earth, North America.
All right.
Christy, calling here in Phoenix.
Phoenix, yes.
And I'm here in the Republic of Ireland.
Woohoo!
Europe. And the name's Harris. Oh, forgot that.
Oh, that's yes, absolutely, Harris. Everybody know that about that, so I could skip it.
I'm Susan. I'm from Boise, Idaho.
Yes.
And I'm Carl, here in beautiful Clearwater, Florida.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm feeling energy. I love it. I needed it. Much needed energy today. So we're going to talk about the serious subject today. It's a sacred neutrality. It's all about the belief system. And we're going to, perhaps we could stretch some of the belief system depending on the group energy right here. And then also that where the topic would take us today. But first, I like to ground this group or show you the group, the high top-down view first, so you know where I'm coming from and where eventually you're going to. But there's a various important milestone or stepping stone along the way. And none of the question or none of the belief system is more important than others. But it's always good to know the big picture first. So I'm going to switch to the presentation mode, and I will stop time to time to kind of seek your perception, opinion, or question. So feel free to take a note, because your idea or thought could come and go quickly, and you don't want to miss that. So you could use the side of our chat bar or write it down and ask when I stop the presentation. I will be quite often. So here we go. Just bear with me. I'm going to share my screen. All right. Is everybody going to see okay?
Yes, very good.
All right. Thank you. So welcome, welcome. So today's agenda or flow of this meetup is the overview as I just described. And then I'm going to periodically do the pulse check. And then perhaps based on this audience energy, we'll dive into the selected items or the item, that menu, or the item that it's not on this menu, right? And then followed by Q&A and a little bit of intro to the next topic under sacred neutrality. I gave you a background of why I am hosting this. It comes from the revocation boot camp we had. There are the series of boot camps that, if you remember, we showcase some of the private reading done with Andrew Bardis, and that include the topic of first contact. And I'm going to go a little bit more into the definition of a first contact, but we are talking about the Earthian recognizing the highly evolved entity or highly spiritually evolved beings exist outside of Earth, right, on this planet. So I'm not sure many of you saw this or remember this particular episode, but we did talk about that, and we did have some discussion around it, and that maybe led to somewhat polarized view. Now, that's lead to the Andrew Bart's appearance to this particular group, the bootcamp member, right now, later called the Brain Trust Group. This was came by basically Andrew's reading everybody's and collectively identified as a shared soul pod or soul group, stemmed all the way back from Lemurian time, or even farther back when we are not even humanoid. Looks like one of the insectoid species. So that's how old our souls being connected and journey through for eons. Going back to the original story of first contact, he basically touched upon the first contact time to time. And then again, I think it's probably me, the way I introduced this concept perhaps was slightly polarized or could be conceived as, okay, what's going on here? Some echoes. Excuse me, I think I skipped. Perhaps it's slightly polarized. So I was corrected very kindly or gentle way, well, implied by one of the highly evolved being or council of all council. So I decided to host this series. It's a good reminder of myself as well as being responsible, cascading down or sharing the information, how information can perceive, right, in a way that not originally intended. And then also it's an important topic for all of us here. We're going to explain a little bit more later. In terms of sacred neutrality, we cannot talk just this topic without talking about ascension and sovereignty. Because of that, ascension are supported with two fundamental pillars, the one of which is sacred neutrality. So we're going to go over or touch upon those two topics, ascension and sovereignty, throughout the discussion. And I just stop and discuss this up front so that you won't get confused. You know, why she's talking about ascension now? Why we going back and forth sovereignty, revocation, and invocation? Because it's all intertwined. And hopefully, giving you a big picture first will less confusing along the way. Now, I just want to stop here because I'm exposing some of the concepts that may not be familiar, such as a boot camp. Some of you weren't in a boot camp from the beginning to the end, and some of you may not be so sure about the sum of the term because everybody has a different way to describe it. So I'm going to stop here and take some questions if you have. Oh, it's messy here. Okay. I hear sirens.
Hi, it's Susan.
Yes.
There's someone who's trying to get in the call that it's DZ.
Oh, David. Yes. Hi,
Oh.
David.
He's trying to get in, but he went to the old one. So oh, there he is.
Yep, I'm here. I gotta hook up my microphone correctly.
I'm so glad you're able to join in. We just started. Thank you, Susan. Is everybody's fine up to here? That the reason this is actually almost asked this session, and I will get to that point, but I just want to make sure that to orient this group, as well as I don't want to exclude anybody else's question along the way. Anybody else like to add to? It doesn't need to be a question.
I would just like to make you aware, if you click on the link on that page, it takes you to the Google Hangout and there's no one there. I clicked on the link you sent me in a message and it brought me here, but on the page it took me to the old one.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
I'll post a new link on the friends page.
Oh, that's right. I didn't post this. Thank you, Zakaru.
Okay, I'll do that right now.
Thank you. Thank you for mentioning. Looks like I'm okay to go to the next. Yes. You guys are very quiet today. All right. Okay, good. So the sacred neutrality, as you could see in a top-down view, I don't know how well you could see it. It's really a journey of a spiritual journey. Everybody knows about this, but I just want to say it again. We are spirit being experiencing this embodiment. So we all start from the source, peace of the source. Peace of source vibrate eternity. For eternity, we just go forever. And we decided to experience or take some lesson. So this is why we are here. Any being who has a mass has a lessonary. It doesn't really matter how high the dimension goes. As long as you have a mass, there's a lesson to be learned. So, however, we are all studying from the source. And we go through this journey along the way. And then we're going to end back to source. So that's a high top-down view. It's pretty simple. Now, there are the great ambassadorship set up billion, zillion, gazillion years ago, and continuing. It is ambassadorship between, or a partnership with a spirit and a mass. So we are always traveling together. The one could call soul family, or one can say spirit group. One could say oversoul collectives. All those terms are powerful and important, have a different kind of tone and some significance for certain people. But it is an ambassadorship between spirit and body. That has not been changed, and that it is the way it is. It is an important point to consider and to remember. Now, so that it is almost impossible not to talk about ascension before you go to the sacred neutrality. The way that our journey starts is again to learn a lesson. And based on this Ascension Council, he basically said the most important question is seldom asked, right? Why we are here? What is your lessonary? That is by far the most important question for us. By understanding and by completing our original mission before we come down on Earth is by far the most important. It will help your ascension and help the planetary ascension. And sometime in our Earthian, the ascension is viewed as moving through the dimensions. So if you are able to move through 4 and 5th and 6th, as if that is the path of ascension, but it's not necessarily so. However, there is a benefit of doing it, and some human, many human, are able to do this on a daily basis. But again, the most important thing is what is your resonance on a 3D realm? Otherwise, you won't be here. So I just wanted to say that Ascension map is sometimes depicted or talked about or implied as if going through your dimensions. But it's not necessary. That is the primary goal for many of us, maybe for some, but it's not for most. So I just spoke about this journey with the spirit. It's an important concept for each of us to understand, and each of us has a different way to understand this and already has some experience. You may share this experience already with others, or you continue to experience, or you seek more experience with a spirit group or higher self or spirit guardian, etc. Some of you are more connected than others. Some of you don't feel connected, but it's completely connected. This is how interesting a drama or scenario. It's inner knowingness. If you are so connected and in total incongruency, you may not hear the message because you are one already. But it's always, as a human, we tend to seek confirmation. So now it's a wonderful internet and then many channelers. They are there to assist you if you seek answer. So I'd like to shift the topic to the planetary ascension. When we talk about ascension, we talk about the individual ascension and as well as the humanity ascension, but also the planet, this entire planetary system, including Earth, are ascending together. So Gaia will do whatever she must do to shift this energy, as you could feel that they get extra energy coming to Gaia, as well as the sun. It was a huge adjustment for her. The result is a series of surface changes already happening now, the various earthquake, volcanic activity, and drastic climatic changes. But those who are happening and will happen will continue to happen. And I think many of you feel that there's different challenging time ahead of us because of this. I like to also mention here that there are highly evolved beings who are aiding those earth change and shift that we face or we facing to minimize the damage. Those are also in a positive ascension path, and those are the earth, so-called earth-friendly or benevolent alien sometimes. But they are also spirit being. There are others, so you probably better call highly spiritually evolved to a highly technologically evolved being. They are actively intervening, interacting with Earthian for many years. I really don't know how long. And there are other realities. They live in other reality. And some of you are more intimately familiar, or some of you may have a direct interactions. The things are going to happen in the near future. It's already happening, but it's going to be more frequent. The visitation in the sky and become more obvious. And more people will see it. And not just strange picture here and there. It will be the video. It will be a show. It will be more apparent. And they're going to be causing no problem or no trouble. Also, there will be more intervention by them to minimize the damage caused by human-driven wars or natural disaster, such as tsunami, earthquake, volcanic eruptions. So that what is the difference? Because they've been doing this behind the scene all the time, but because of the controlling entity, controlling domination system, basically skew the perception, manipulation. It's less obvious for mass to see the connection, right? The distinction, and there are some misfortune, disastrous event happen. So it's difficult for a human to distinct what is good, what is bad, what is beneficial, what is non-beneficial, who is doing what, and what is the purpose. However, it will become more and more connection, distinction become more clear. And because of the collaborative effort between various human as well as more coordinated activity by those highly evolved species will make themselves more known. There will be changes in the human belief system, not because they appear, but because of facing massive changes, including human-caused disasters. So the plan is to have series of dimensional interventions in a very positive way. Now, this will take time because trust needed to be built. And also it's up to individual at this point to connect with those highly evolved species and how you're going to process that, how you're going to integrate it into your daily life and spiritual life, and how you're going to communicate with your fellow and then other mass. I just like to stop again here. And kind of seek what you've been seeing. I see that's crystal skull. So far you've been seeing, feeling, and whether you agree or disagree, or you like to add something here.
Can you touch base on what did you say? The most important question?
Oh, that for Ascension?
That is not asked, or something.
Yes.
And that was, what is our purpose? Is that the answer?
What is Ascension? Yeah, basically, what is the definition of Ascension? They seldom ask. They just assumed. People assume what is Ascension? Implied as moving through dimension, as if the higher dimension is superior, hierarchical thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not Ascension, because they are the being, highly evolved being, like to experience the second dimension. Why you want to do that if it's upper dimension is better than lower? So there is no hierarchical, yes, there is no hierarchical order. The third dimension or fourth dimension is better than the third, or sixth dimension is better than the fourth.
Yeah, I'll throw something in there too. I had recently somebody commented on one of the videos I put on of Simon Parks, and they were talking about masters, ascended masters, and the person commented that in the context of master slave, ruler, hierarchical, like you were just talking about, and that was a great learning for me. It means master of skill, right? Master of dimensions. It doesn't mean hierarchical ruler. And that's just another way that term has been distorted for the masses. We're to think, master means I am subservient. It doesn't mean that at all. It means they have mastered the skills of, dimensional travels, or whatever you want to call it. It has nothing to do with hierarchical.
I'm so glad you brought it up, Zachary, and you always have like a best way to explain it.
Thank you.
I really do. You know that because the way you put it out is very non-polarized way too, right? I think it's important. We just like any master who refine with a chef or music or those making katana. We're definitely gonna. I like to send them respect because there's no way I could do those things. It is a will and dedication and time. It's something to say about it. It's definitely respectful. But you're right. We tend to. It's our fault. But it also they project upon their superiority over somewhat. This is how archons use those ascended master figure to have them. They use their figure and a name to basically convince human that okay, I have to listen to you. Yes.
Yeah.
Whereas we have a full right, we are consenting because they are ascended master or godlike name. Yeah.
Right, they present it in the belief system as hierarchical, when that's not what ascended master truly means. That's not what the master identifier, as used as an identifier, really means. Just more distortion of our linguistics.
Yeah.
Of the linguistics within the system.
Now I feel really bad with ascending masters, right? Because they should be still master. They're ascended master. Now people think, how do you think? Nobody believe when Jesus come down now. Nobody would believe it. Which Jesus is it? Is it good? They immediately say beneficial one or not beneficial. It was so distorted. The same thing about angels. Yes, that is a tough concept, becoming more and more challenging question. A lot of things we talk about here, we may not be able to talk to when you go into certain different, very religious community. I got a really nasty comment on a YouTube that I had to take it down. I thought they come down and do something to me when I discuss about Jesus. It's a really touchy subject.
Yeah, that's the dogma. That's more of the belief training, the false belief system that's been entrained.
I would like to add something here.
Yes.
If I'm allowed. Of course I'm allowed. I was just looking for the time to
I can't believe you're saying that, Horace.
Right. No hierarchical here. We're inherent equity.
All right. Okay, let's I think they wanted me to kind of say that, to smooth that back into a neutrality. This is quite simple because everything that is in front of you is a mirror of yourself. So they wanted me to say this, that we call let's say higher perspective or higher vibrational beings that are here to help us out, if we want to put it in that way. They are just higher perspectives of ourselves. So really do away with the polarity. It is just a higher perspective of yourself when you get a being helping you out. But if you want to take it down to polarity, and then you could see that being as bad or good, and then it affects you in whichever way that you need to go through the lessons that you want to go through. But if you're beyond, say, lessons, and you just in neutrality, just for the experience, any high vibrational being that you see, you do not put them into clauses of bad and good. You just take that experience and then you enjoy whatever comes from that, and you see that as so if I was vibrating that high, that's how, that resonates with me. That's how I would like it. That's how I would vibrate high. And then that helps you to see where you're going with your own evolution. Say, okay, I will take it that way. I like that way. I'll go that way or this way. So really, they're just there for us to see ourselves in the mirror, how we could take it if we wanted to vibrate that high. And of course, we all want to vibrate high. So we have all these, we have a lot of information that comes to us, and then we resonate to some of them, and then we take it that way, and then we evolve that way. So they just wanted us to know that as opposed to going to the polarity, it's just a mirror of you. They're not higher or anything. They're just showing you what you are already and how you can vibrate if you want to take it in that way. So that way we're not categorizing them or making one special than one. It's just neutral. It's just another side of you.
I like what you said there, how we take it. Because we
Yes.
can take it and we actually create it into whatever that would create it into. It
Yeah.
can be whatever it is, and it is how we take it.
Yes, that's because it comes. It's the standpoint where where it stand in the vibrational point is neutrality. It's when we get into it, when we are aware of it. Now we can now take it whichever we want to take it. So we can now, you know what I mean? So we can now take it into, oh, I don't like that. I don't resonate. Okay, what not?
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, I like that. I resonate. You know, and then you go high, or you could, they told me that was bad. And, you know, it could be
Right.
any way you want to take it, and you hold that responsibility. You hold that choice.
Right.
That authority is yours. So they just there. Most every being that comes to your face is just neutral until you start taking it somewhere, and then they have to play that character for you. You could have some beings that some people would say they're reptilians and they're these, oh, they're bad to me, they drag me off my bed, and then somebody else meet the same reptilian on a neutral basis, and they're doing that. They're actually singing lullabies or whatever because he takes the reptilian to this love side, and if the reptilian wants to play, he plays the love side. He plays the character. If he doesn't want to, he moves away. No, I don't want to play that. So it's really where you take it, and so people get different experiences depend because of the different perspectives and the unique perspectives that we all have and hold. So
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. How we take it is what it creates into.
Let's
exactly.
let's have this energy, what we discussed, resonate when that happens, when perhaps some of us may have a lower vibration or influenced by the massive low vibration energies. We could always bring this energy back. So that was a good discussion. I thank you, Harris.
Thank you.
Now, I know there's a couple of folks who want to say so much, but I just can't stop seeing this growing skull. I think he has something to say. Now, I know Carl, I know you like to jump in something about third and higher ones. I can decide. So, Carl, you want to jump in?
Sure. You were talking about the dimensions, and it brought back something that I remember listening to recently, which is a different perspective on the dimensions, which was that most of us came from and are still in, or in multiple dimensions at the same time. But what the point was is that this dimension is the hardest one, and only the really brave, courageous, powerful, strong entities from the other dimensions come down to this one to have this experience, because it's the hard one. The other ones are easy to be in because they're light energy, very high frequency. It's easy to be high frequency. It's hard when you're high frequency naturally to get to go down to a low frequency. That's tough, right? So now, what percentage of us are from the higher dimensions? I don't know what that person's view is. My view is we all are. We're all here. We're all higher dimensional beings that have taken the challenge to come down to play this experience. So it's when you have that other dimension, is ascension. What are you ascending to? Well, you're already there. You just, by choosing to play this game, by agreeing to do certain things here, okay, maybe we forgot about that other stuff. But that was just another view that I wanted to share on dimensions and where we are now.
Yeah, thank you. So each one of you so far shared about that I guess we would understand when you say spaceship, right? Or for example, or some entity from higher dimension intervening or showing some magical things. We have, oh yeah, I used to do that. Yes. Oh, that's my brother. That is my cousin. So that is probably the first thing we probably gonna pop in, not just go, ooh, what is that? Is something gonna happen? So there is a lot of programming be done on us and to kids through media, through movie, the sci-fi, right? Definitely in a programming, religious programming, that is a big one. It's all about programming, belief system. That's really prevent many from seeing what it's presented. So we no longer be able to see, like Harris said, we're seeing the same things, we're seeing the same picture, but somebody is almost a frightening horror scene. For someone, it's a very calming, soothing, almost falling to sleep because of the color, the projected or filter, the praise is often being done to you, done to the individual in a systematic way for years after years after years after years.
That goes into it real quick. Simon Parks talks about that. That's one of the reasons Hollywood has made alien contact into a scary thing. They're going to blow everything up. We should be afraid of them. We should fight them. We should want to shoot them down. And that's why they've ingrained that as a belief system, because they want to delay first contact and knowledge of our true existence.
Yes, I completely agree. That's what I was told as well. So understand that those are great writer going to this dream world or dream time. They're seeing, they're shown the same things, right? The wonderful thing of the star brother and his sister are here to have, expand our consciousness because we are ready to become a galactic citizen. And they go to all the same dream theater and all those great writers. One create horrific sci-fi film, and the other one create wonderful fantasy film that all the kids gonna fall in love with. They're seeing the same things. Now, yes, there are a lot of factors influencing this disaster, but it's unfortunately we remember more the horrific one than the fantasy world. I won't say that we tend to, right? Because of the years of programming again. So it required a lot of desensitization. It's not so much healing. Desensitization needed to happen before the mass contact for the safety reason, and that requires series of disclosure also has to happen before that. So it's going to be some time. However, there's a certain thing will happen before. This is why I just wanted to mention now. Those are including the natural disaster or so-called natural disaster, including mass-scale destruction, earthquakes, volcano. It is minimized. It's minimized, but it will happen. That feeling, no matter how you want to be neutral, you want to be neutral, you want to be neutral, you will be exposed to those news. You will be exposed, you will be seen, you may experience some portion of it. And that is, like Harry said, it is your choice how to take it. The time to time, it happens. It's not easy though. No matter how you feel, you could do it now. So it is a good thing to be prepared and talk about it. And you have a people here. You could share. There's something you may not be able to share with many, but you could share within this group or with your trusted circle or your friend. Now, I know I haven't heard from Susan or Christy. I keep seeing this crystal skull, so I just wanted to bring up to the screen so everybody could see it. Wow, that's beautiful. If anybody, if you could put all the mind to it, I'm sure you'd be able to listen to him. I think he's sending us a positive energy.
I just real quick, you were talking about, Andrew talked about that in our Akashic mentoring session. I forget which snippet it was and what question it was in regards to, but that is one reason why, like, I was asking about environmental catastrophes, and that in some perspective of that, false flag events, stuff like that, is a booby trap to throw people back into polarity. That's good or that's bad. Takes us out of neutral to witness that on the nightly news, to read that in the paper, to see that soundbite of stuff. Another reason, another way to get us out of neutral.
Yeah. Well, think about it. If you are them, what do? You will, not you, I mean, let's say if I were them, and I'm so scared because my power is going to be fall apart, if the people begin to awake, I will do everything. I would just throw everything in a pot, right? It could be really natural disaster. Well, I will use that as well. This one did it. This one did that.
Yeah.
And then if some channel say, well, this was a divine intervention, and I'm gonna put that in the top and make it something horrific, horror movie or something.
Right.
So yeah, and then also they have a series of weapons, correct? And it's those technology and be able to control again mind. Why you want to control mind? The belief system. It's all about the belief system. This is why the time traveling it became so primal topic for all the species, because what Andrew say, those who control the future, no, those who control the time, those who control the future belief. So again, it's a belief. It's a belief system. They will attack every single belief system that individually have, or the group of folks will have. And as they train a mind, a belief, they be able to predict the behavior, right? 20, 30 different scenarios, they put it on, and each time they run this, propaganda, they watch us, right? How this individual behave, how this group will behave, what do they say, how they communicate, what the purchase they make, or whatever, all the things. And then they begin to have a predictive model for each one of us or a group of us, and that's how they built. And then it's called farm. We are a farm animal, each of us, and then each of us is a crop that within us, because if we buy into the belief system, we have that one form of this belief system that provide to them. Their goal is to have like a 20 or 30 different crops within us, so they could harvest the energy whenever they want, whatever they want, whenever they need, from those group and those group and those group. So that it's been their theme. There's a series of programming, both technologically, and it will also target the soul, like the spirit, and they target both, so that you think you are guided. You think that your spirit or your soul, it's your soul calling. This is why I'm doing this, and begin not to understand who you are anymore. So this is why the one of the ascension is understand who you are. That include bringing all your soul shares together and become complete, so you know who you are, or connecting more with the planet, Earth Mother, and the Central Sun. Those are also the essential for the ascension, but they will prevent as much as they can do. So the entity attachment or this and that, yeah, it's scary, but it's fundamentally they don't want you to collect your soul shards. More complete you are, more powerful you are, because you know who you are. This is why people want to remember the past. It's not only the healing or teaching, but it's a power, understanding who you were, understand who you will be next, and an easier time for you to collect your soul shards. So you're more aware, you're ascending, you're more powerful, you're less able to be controlled. Susan? Christy, would you like to jump in? Oh, is it Christy? I see something. Yeah.
So basically, they rewrite history so we cannot access our memories because what they've written does not jive with what's in our own DNA memories, and that further takes us further away from our recognition of our own self and our journey and collecting our soul shards. And I've done that reading now twice, and it is a tougher one for me to read. I have to take my time, and I do feel like maybe there's some kind of interference, so I keep plugging away at it, just trying to gather that information. The other thing is being stuck in the wrong skin suit, and knowing something's wrong and not being able to move a little more towards ascension because of it. Not saying it's an excuse, but that was what I was kind of struggling with last year a little bit, was trying to figure that out and trying to activate certain things in a different body than I think what I planned to. I did along the lines of what you were saying. I had read that was very much what Jade Helm was about, seeing how certain groups would react to certain things, plotting out their reaction, how they were going to be kind of, I guess, analyzed on a larger soul level, and how they would react in the future to XYZ being presented to them. And now I see for energy harvesting as well. Now you explained it very well, really well. So that's one of the things that I had heard that Jade Helm was for. And this is the part where it's, for me, I struggle with neutrality, because that's pretty deep. I mean, that's a lot of manipulation on a mass scale, even more so than the obvious Hollywood and the propaganda. I mean, this just takes it to a whole new level. So I appreciate this class this series on sacred neutrality.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Thank you. I know it's difficult. It's difficult to share stuff like that.
Can I add to that?
I know you want to add to that, Harris. Hold on just a second.
Okay.
Is it okay? I just want to go on to Susan, and it maybe get tied back to you, Harris.
Okay.
I have a strange feeling. Susan?
So I'm, thinking about these mass geographical events or whatever, volcanoes and everything, that triggered me. And if it triggers pain to think about it, I mean, how do you take that? You're trying to be compassionate, yet you're trying to be neutral. So I'm kind of like all jumbled about with this feeling. How do I feel about it? Do I just stop feeling and then be, because you can't become totally detached from all emotion as a human. So can anybody help me with that? I'm feeling a lot of pain.
Yes, I know you are, because you sensory connected practically. I went through that last year as well. So I can't say this lightly, because I went through a series of heater, and then it was quite bad. Now, I don't want to forget other things, but the one thing though, Susan, you are feeling it because you are capable to press the change. Otherwise, they won't give it to you. Now, the one thing that we could learn from the Star Brothers and Sister, what they can do well and what we don't do well, is the following that tie back to your question. This is how we were told. I think Harris is more experienced on this. I know you could explain more, so I'm gonna give you the thunderbolt after mine. So what humans tend to do is we take everything first, and we manifest it in our body, which is a form of the pain or disease if you don't take care of it quickly enough. And then we wonder what are you going to do with this. And usually it's already done. It's much, much more difficult to reverse it back to the original state at that point. What high vibrational, highly spiritual, evolved beings do is they know the feeling, right? It's coming in. Before they take it into your emotional, physical body, they will assess, not judge, assess. Is this beneficial for me, for my spiritual growth, or not? Not necessarily this event is right or wrong, which is a judgment, because we are not here to judge. We're here to assess, right? Is this furthering my learning or expand my mind, or going to go less or neutral? Then, based on that assessment, they will take it in. And if have it, whatever the expression they choose, our case often is emotion, and sense shows up as a pain or sadness or whatever. We have so many ways to experience these things. It's your choice. It's a buffet almost. It is disciplined process, and you have to be aware. You almost have to see it's coming like a wave. You recognize often after the fact you already take it, you already took it, and it manifested and expressed in a physical body. And then you begin to think about, oh, what I just did, where it's coming from. It must be Mother Earth. It's much more difficult process for us. So I'm just sharing one technique, and then I could talk a little bit more. And then I also have a technique for Christy about the wrong skin suits, but I'm afraid I'm going to go off topic, and I want to go back to the Mr. Harris. The Fountain of Wisdom. It's your turn.
We are all the fountain of wisdom. Thank you so much.
Come on, Harris, just let it out.
It's perfection, because everything is lined up in perfection. As you stopped me, there were some things that you needed to say, because that will clear the wave for what I'm gonna say now. And as I sat there patient, I just watched you say all the things. I was like, oh, good. Now they will understand me better. So it's perfection. And what the information I had was for everyone that is feeling that to ask the big question. And the big question is, am I able to let that go? That is the big question. Am I able to let that go and just concentrate my airtime in the now, on the now, not the past or the future, not what has happened there, not what will happen. If I can just concentrate my airtime and awareness in the now, just like a little joyous kid in bliss, and just play in the now, because the now is where all the resolution is. Now, it's very simple to have the resolution. It's simple, but it's difficult. It's not easy, because we are used to attaching ourselves, holding on to the past and things that happen, and then things that move us. It's not easy to feel in such a way a heavy feeling and say, oh, I'm just going to forget about this feeling and run away. It feels like you're running away from it. But the other question to ask yourself is, do I want to continue feeling this way? How does this information make me feel? Is that the way I want to continue feeling? And just like what Makiko said, you face it, you go and understand, what lessons is this teaching me? And then if you can get those lessons very quickly, then you can move away to a lighter feeling, or maybe get back to your now. You want to remember that the way you feel is what creates your reality. So you are responsible for creating your reality. So you want to really, really be mindful of what you're feeling. So if that a topic or those topics keep you in a feeling, in a lower vibration, and I don't really want to be in lower vibration, but these topics are keeping me here because I don't understand them yet. Then you really want to get to understand them. And then, because when you get the understanding, then that could lead to acceptance, and then that could lead to you allowing it to go. And then that could lead to you returning back to your now, where all the miracles are, where all the resolution is, where the life is, because
Yes.
everything else does not really exist. Even the past, even what's holding you and making you feel that way, it's just beliefs in time. Is that how Osiphius said it? It's just beliefs in time. It happened then, but it's not happening now. So I am introducing that into my now. My now is supposed to be this clear water, but I have introduced that because there's some lessons there. So it's up to you to know about this, because you're responsible for everything here. So it's up to you to know that, okay, although I'm feeling that, maybe I'm feeling that because I have to learn some things there. Okay, I quickly want to learn these things and get away from them, because if I keep feeling this, I will keep creating the like of this. So I love myself so much and say, I want to walk away where I can let this go. It sounds simple that, oh, if I let it go, that's it, it's gone. But I know it's not easy to let things go, but you want to find tools to find yourself letting things go, allowing things to go, so you can stay in the now. If
Yeah.
that, you
It
know,
reminds me of Andrew Bartz's, he kind of calls it separation of density. Everything is energy. And those emotions that we're feeling, maybe they're not ours, wherever the source of them are coming from, maybe they're projected onto us, but it is energy. And so we can recognize it as such and choose to separate that from ourselves and not share, not entangle. Choose how you want to share in that energy or exchange that energy. That can be
Yeah.
your conscious application. And then you can become more of the observer and start to recognize, is that really me and stuff?
So
It's a process.
yeah.
exactly. Yes.
But
Yes.
it's yeah. Thank you. I definitely do feel the energy from both of you. Harris, you have a tone and a word that empowering. So in terms of expressing, I think I definitely have, I don't know how to say this. You got a definitely talent there. It's not just talent, but you feel the passion coming through. So sometimes I don't need to listen to your words. I just feel your energy, and the punctuation of the word resonate me well. So it's more like, to me, your words talking directly to your heart. It's pretty cool. I hope I'm listening too. I think I definitely do this.
That
But
is,
it's
thank you so much.
yeah, it's empowering.
That
Um,
is wonderful compliment for my ego here, because my ego wants to be the best conduit that it can be. So when you say things like that, it's very happy, like, oh my god, I really got out of the way because she could feel my heart. Yeah. So that's
that's how we communicate. I should communicate anyway. I want to mention, because this scholar keep talking to me. He said basically when Harris was going right at it, and he said, "Love heals all." That is pretty cool. So thank you, David, bringing a crystal skull here. I think he will probably have a lot more to say later. And I also want to go back to Zachary. Here's, I mean, I'm probably putting a label, but I'm sorry if I'm doing that. I do feel like a masculine energy in terms of, this is not beneficial, just let it go. It's sometimes difficult for empaths. I'm not saying you're not empath, like you're very much empath too. Sometimes we feel and then stop and attach because there's a reason. There's a reason there why you are so attached to. It is a part of what perhaps Harry said, because there is an important lesson. If there's an important lesson, you can just let it go, isn't it? Even though what you want to, try to let that go, will come back even stronger. And more you heal, more sometimes you feel like you're going down a path. I thought I just heal. Now why you're going to feel like going backward? Because you're hitting your core. Perhaps that's your calling. The reason why Susan may be feeling Mother Earth, because that's her calling. That is her mission here, to be one with Mother Earth and heal together, or There's something there for her to stay and continue to pick the moment. Because the pain is the memory. That's why those painkiller or anesthesia, it's not deleting the pain. They are deleting your memory. That's why you don't remember the pain. It's not because you didn't have a pain. You did have a pain, but you don't remember. That's you have no pain. If you truly do not remember the pain you had before, you do not feel pain as that much. The most of the pain coming from the past, the memory, you amplifying it, and you amplifying it, and you amplifying it. Every each moment you amplifying. But that's why pain get worse and worse and worse and worse. It is true. So that's why baby don't feel pain, even the same surgery. They have the same nervous system as adult. At a certain age they do, but they don't feel pain after the big surgery because they don't remember it. So you could do the same thing. If you train yourself not to remember, that means letting go of the past, not necessarily letting go of the pain you're feeling now, but you're letting go of the past. You're healing from the past completely. You will not going to feel the pain. You will feel the feeling or sensations they're giving to you at this very moment, which is different from what you're probably feeling.
Wow, Makiko, I just want to add a little bit on that. That was so wonderful. It's just an experience with me and my son. You know, my son would maybe fall down or whatnot, and something that in the past I would have seen that as very painful, and I would live in that reality of, oh, that should be painful. Here, by giving him a mirror of, hey, that could be pain. You can experience pain there, but when my son does this now, I don't go there because I don't naturally go there now, you know. So I just look at him, and then he looks back at me, and then he sees that I'm in a new place where, you know, I'm just smiling, and then he's there, and then he's, you know, there is no pain. It's like he can't even remember if that ever happened. And what really happened, if we want to go there, the type of pain that could have been there would have been a lot. So it's about the choice of your new now, you know. And as you mentioned, babies, exactly, that's how they are. And you know, he even came that way. He actually taught me how to do that. You know, I noticed that in him. Like, I'm like, that's supposed to be painful, and it's like, oh, he's already gone jumping around. I'm like, whoa. So I copped on, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do that back as well, because you know, he's advanced. I want to be advanced too. You know what I mean? So that's a wonderful point there, Makiko. I love that. Thank you.
You're welcome. I think there's a lot of things going on between Carl and I think Carl. Carl, would you like to jump in?
Well, yeah, I mean, after quite a bit of counseling where I got where you unburden pain and unconsciousness from past incidents, it removes amnesia, so I can remember further and further back. I remember being born, and it was painful. Let me tell you, there's pain there. And it's your first pain with that body, because it's only at birth that you can take that body, because prior to birth, it's part of the mother's body. It's not, the mother won't let somebody in to her tissue, and that is her tissue until it's not in her anymore. So, and not only do I remember the pain of, you know, getting my head squished, but they gave my mom some, I don't know what, some kind of drugs, and boy, I felt really druggy. I mean, which makes the incident worse, because the drug with the pain amplifies the negativity of that painful incident, which is the cause of 90% of you know, the bad stuff as far as feeling, spiritual thing is pain, the pain and unconsciousness. So as you unburden that, it's like it adds stuff to you that isn't you. So as you can get rid of that, then you're just you. You can't get rid of things that are you, because it's your core. But all the negative stuff, that's just like, it's like, my analogy is like, imagine at the beginning of creation, here you were, this naked body, and then you go through time and experiences, and you get mud thrown on you, and more mud, and you're going through time, and finally you're just coated with all this mud that isn't you, but you're behaving as if the mud was part of you. So when you get good healing, it's like they take a hose and wash all the mud, and it's all off. But they can't wash the part of you off. If you can't, when you take a shower, you're not going to dissolve. That part's going to stay, right?
That's a good analogy. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned. This is why Andrew often make us go back to mother womb. Not even just mother womb. He make me go all the way back, just a tissue of the heart, right? It's just a little bit of the this primitive things. Actually, it's not just a heart. We kind of like agree those kind of thing.
How do we tell what's mud and how do we tell what's us?
You keep taking shower, I guess.
And just keep cleansing. I just keep observing and doing the inner work.
No, it's amazing. I remember probably an analogy would be like the Buddhist Bodhi, achieving the state of Bodhi. I remember the first time I helped another achieve that state, and I saw it with my own eyes before she even recognized it. I mean, your whole existence, every person you see this, well, I could see this like black aura, which is just the accumulation of all the past incidents of pain, emotional pain, physical pain, and the pain when the unconsciousness just makes a little blackness around the body. So I've always saw it, and it's like just natural until the first time I saw somebody without it, and it just blew my mind, and I didn't know how to, what is that? And I instantly had just 1,000% admiration for that person, and I wasn't trained yet, so my only analogy would be it's an angel. I'm looking at an angel. Okay. And actually, in hindsight, yes, I was looking at an angel. We're all angels. But anyway, but
Yep.
but the mechanism just disappeared, and she knew, I knew, she knew that mechanism was gone, and she had achieved Bodhi, or she had been cleared of all these of that mechanism. It's a stimulus response mechanism of the mind. When you have those painful incidents, they can control, they can become restimulated later in life and cause you to have a psychosomatic illness, irrational behavior, insanity, and such.
That is a cool special talent as well. Be able to see the energy in the field, and then not just knowingness, but seeing it, right, in that matter. Encouraging. And then I know there's some question from Christy. We at the Sacred Neutral, when the mud is washed off, it's a part of the journey to Ascension. The healing is always take place, and also the seeing without any filter or any past memory. That also helps see the things clearly. So that's a lot of answer to that. I kind of can't help noticing the David's skull, and I don't know David is a position to voice or like to introduce this wonderful
Yeah, I
thing.
can voice, but my microphone's not very good.
Okay. So we're just going to admire it then.
I think he's trying to communicate to you.
Yes. He wants to come up and preach us. That's beautiful. I can't wait to see him. Is anybody else like to voice at this point? I have only 2 slides left, but we are kind of touching upon a very important things here.
Can I go? Can I go? Or
Yeah, go ahead.
I think I got something about being comfortable and not being comfortable, having stress and not having stress, having pain, not having, and it came in the words of vibration, as in vibration, moving from a lighter frequency to a lower different frequency, or moving from a lower frequency to a lighter frequency. So with vibration, let's say you're a baby and you're trying to come out and you're trying to enter a lower frequency, which is the 3D or 4D earth. You would have more uncomfortable, that experience would be more uncomfortable, because you're coming to a denser a denser density, really. So your vibration is a bit, it has to go down a bit to kind of match that reality. So there is uncomfort, there is a pain there, there is that struggle, there is more in that, as opposed to, I know I'm comparing birth and death, but it's like, what I'm going to say is birth is more painful than death. I think that has been said by Abraham Hicks before, and we can understand that by vibration. Now, if someone is dying and living the denser reality, when you get into a lighter reality, at first you feel you've left that dense reality. It feels relief. There is a relief in that, and that also happens to your day-to-day life. When you've been in a very dense vibration, and then maybe you get home and then you want to unwind, you want to go into a meditation so you could get into a higher frequency. So it's a release. You don't feel pain in that. You feel, oh, comfort. You love it. Then your vibration rises. But when your vibration is up there and then you get into a situation and somehow you stick to a frequency there that is lower, and that brings you down. As you are going down, you are feeling the discomfort of that. You're feeling the pain. So it's only when that's why another thing, like guys, friends we have that are in higher dimensions, a lot of them are reluctant to actually show themselves physically in 3D or 4D, because it's more painful than for us to come up there and meet them halfway. So it's all about vibration. You're going up. Oh, it's easy. It's a relief. It's releasing. It's woo. And then you're coming down. It's like, ooh, oh my God. It becomes more uncomfortable, because we are basically, we are of higher vibrations. That's our natural core. Our natural core is really, really light and high there. So when we come down, we feel it. We feel that discomfort. I just wanted to add that and relate it to simple vibrations, and then that would apply to everything you do day to day as well. Understood?
Yeah, definitely. So I do the same thing. I actually go to the same way, Harris, when I kind of stuck with the idea, and I go and bring everything back. Everything is a vibration. Everything is energy, and make things much simpler. Because if you think and more think of that state, there's no judgment with energy. Even government or those controlling body, it become vibration and frequency. And then there is the mass. The mass is still vibrate, but much lower, slow, right? That's why it doesn't look like moving, but they are. So what does it make it mass? And that's how everything started from. We have a mass, and none of us was mass before. The only reason we have a mass is because there was a thought. That the thought was focused. The moment after moment and moment, the thought maintained, which is focused thought. Thought that being thought again, to the point where it created mass. Without the thought form, none of us exist. So this is how important the thought is. This is why they want to control our mind. This is why they want to control the belief system, because thought is everything. Thought is the controlling of all that is, to make a mass, to do all sorts of things. Now, if you think that way, where we're going with this in a sacred neutral, because we are the thought form that think. That's a huge variable. Nobody wants to predict, because if we were truly free will mind and also powerful, imagine who could predict what. Nobody would know. If you want to control someone like Earth, we have to go after the very core of our thought. This is why so much things happen, right? Those mind control and this and that, and then like a gazillion thing. So if you focus on those like individual things, it's not fun. But if you're going back to the original energy, vibration, and frequency, everything becomes much more simpler. Why we feel? Because we focus. Why we focus? Because there's a thought form that will keep adding energy, more energy, every second, every millisecond. Our thought is there, our thought is there, our thought is there, our thought is there. Just like infinite vibrational effort. Otherwise, there is no pain. It's a lot of energy going there to produce pain. So it's actually more natural state. Just come in and let it go, feel it, let it go, feel it, let it go. That is the actual natural state. So if we go with this natural flow, where we're going, we become high vibrational, free-flowing being, absolutely in a blissful state. So that's what we are. But we're not. Most of us, not in that state every single second. That's why we're still in here. But I like the idea, Harris. I go there quite often. Every time I stuck, I just going back, it's everything energy. And then actually not much things are going to bother at that point. And then back to the Susan's point, what is it fun if you don't feel any emotion? Why are you even here? So that's always a balance. It's wonderful things to have emotion as long as we're not being enslaved by it. Right? It's kind of like a roller coaster, whether you enjoy it or you're seen as a scary machinery. Whatever. Sorry, I'm really getting a little bit off topic. I'm going to cover one important concept, and then I will end this. So just hold on. I hope the people could see this well. So just want to talk briefly. Did I go too far? Do I cover here, right? Mass awakening, yes?
I don't remember that.
Okay. So the mass awakening is a lot of prediction. I'm just going to stick to one of them. So critical mass. So what is a mass awakening? The definition. There are certain critical mass of Earthian or human. We need to awake and stay awakened, right? And along with a series of key disclosures. I think one of the biggest one that predicted is NASA will be pretty soon. The true identity of NASA will be disclosed in an official way, not just the internet and some people here and saying that that's because it's already happening. And then followed by actually NASA is much worse than military industry complex. So and then followed by military industry complex, the hidden history and such, and perhaps about religious belief, which is the biggest offender, the Vatican disclosure, or perhaps the hidden libraries. This part I may kind of add it to that, so that you know. And then a crop circle and true identity of the meaning of ancient sites. Pyramids are important. in a reverse or collapse of a financial banking system, right? And more, the official going to be disclosing the life outside of Earth. Those are going to be, that some anticipate as soon as 6 years, or some expect not 20 years. It's just, the time is really wide here. For the people who living for the being who live like 1,000 years, they're probably nothing. But for us, it's a pretty big gap, 6 to 20. So what is a mass or first contact? Depending on who you speak to, Andrew basically said, oh, it's already happened. Yes, it is probably happened to those in the top or the hierarchical order, in the top folks, but not in a public manner. So I guess we can say mass contact instead of a first contact, and I just use this interchangeably here. So it's not so much of our role is to when that happened, but it's more to do with what it mean to you. What is your responsibility, where you stand, and what does it mean to you in terms of spiritual learning, or your spirituality or spiritual maturity. That is probably perhaps more important than predicting when and how. So this is where the sacred neutrality is again tested. Can you be a fully responsible being when that occurs at the mass and individual level, at a group level? Are you going to still blame government at this point, or you're standing up? You claim sovereignty. Hey, I know those bad guy or some negative influence in Ascension path, but I am responsible for my reality. I am not going to keep blaming all those entities or those things. That was just a lesson and experience. They just play their roles. I am playing my role, and I'm going to create my own, right? My way, and express. This is my expression. Can you say that when reality is screaming at you? And then how do you perceive your unawakened family, if you have, or your friends? Isn't it just their learning too, not to be awakened at this time? Are you going to honor that? Or you are trying to help them ascend? Is that your role? How do you draw a line? What is a sacred neutrality there? And then what is your statement, behavior towards those military complex officials? And how about those 6 or 15 multidimensional beings? How about those archons? How those robots that work under those domination and control systems? What is your opinion? What are your perception? How that gonna affect your health, your spirituality, and your belief system? So back to you guys. So this is what I really wanted to communicate today. And then I'd like to just take a moment and go on the table, and I'm gonna finish with the next topic of this series. Looks like Carl, looks like you want to say?
Yeah, absolutely. When you talk about blame, well, just generally speaking, when you're blaming, you're assigning cause to another, which is disempowerment to yourself. But it's just a general thing. But as far as when the point is reached that the mass awakening has occurred, we're going to be creating our own new consensus reality, which those not sharing that consensus won't be able to be a part of. So if they're still there, that means that they're that they want to progress themselves. They're all our brothers and our sisters. Okay? This is just a crazy game we've been playing. Okay? So, absolutely, I'm completely willing to, let the past be the past, if they're going to be with us moving forward, right? And into the new paradigm, and like you said, it's not a matter of judgment, I've already made my judgment. We are all beautiful, powerful, immortal spiritual beings. I'm already done judging. I don't need any more judgment than that. That doesn't mean I have to tolerate behavior that doesn't contribute to me. No, I control my universe, my own personal universe. But yeah, so yeah, by all means, any of them, any of the 15, if they want to join the party, great, let's party, intergalactic Kager.
Thank you. Well said. It's you're invited, all the 15, as long as you follow your personal universal law. I like that.
I'd say you got to give them the Men in Black flashy thingy before they are allowed to come play.
Your entire memory being erased.
Exactly.
Yeah, Zach. Where is that pen? You're supposed to send it to me. Men in Black pen.
Yeah, and the cool thing about that too is that they created a new memory too, right?
Oh, that's right.
Right. So they said, yeah, you're going to go back to your mom. You're going to be better without him and all that. Remember the lady at.
Does it come with like a different light? How does it work?
So we could program their new memory for them.
Maybe that's where the ace card are coming in. Like instant replacement of memory. And then, I don't want to get another karmic debt from that.
Yeah, that's part of the old paradigm. We'll leave that stuff behind.
We have to go together to another boot camp, Zachary. We're going to be going back and then relearning a different school. Let's not do that. Okay. Christy, Susan?
This is Susan. Hi. So putting it all in what my takeaway would be, the benevolent beings are here to help us do this transition. We definitely signed up to be here. It's up to us how much or how little contact we want to have with them. And just from your experience, Makiko, or anyone else that's been in close contact with the beings, is there any just practical advice on maybe protocol or how to work more efficiently with these beings, how to just make it more of a fit? I don't know. Does that make sense? Kind of a mechanic.
Yeah. So I can only give what I got, and there's a lot more expert in different communities. But based on the interaction I had, more you develop your telepathic skills, it's better off, because that's how all they communicate. It's important to, again, trust your heart, because there are so many things, right? And what is benevolent? It's beneficial for you or less beneficial for you. What is beneficial for you? Is it's expansion of your heart. That's really it. It's very simple. Really going back to Harris' energetic theory, but it's very effective one. When you're talking or exposed to this being, is your heart expanding or your heart contracting? It doesn't really matter what everybody else said. This is beneficial. But if it's not beneficial for you at this time of the momentous, either you're not ready or it's not beneficial for you at this moment. So it's not beneficial. Do you understand? Unless you're ambassador, you got this role and you're going to play this role, you will be trained. But at this momentous time, you really have a you. That's the compass, and the compass is your heart. How do you measure your compass? Is expanding or less expanding or contracting? So your heart need to be open and not have a boundary. And how do you open the heart? We all know you need to be healed, less trauma, less program, and less judgment to yourself. So you're doing all that. We just need to have to trust ourselves. Now, telepathic skill, it could be further developed. We could do every day, each time we communicate. When I talk to you, am I talking from my head or I'm talking from my heart? So.
Yeah, I have a comment on that. Years ago, I listened to an interview Alex Collier was giving regarding his very persistent contact with the Andromedans, and in one of his interviews he actually laid out what he described as an accepted normal greeting and interaction with others, that it's I don't remember that much of it, but it was like you know, basically you say or you have the intention, this is my space, I give you permission to enter my space for benevolent communication or some such. I mean,
yeah,
I'd have to go back and watch it.
Yeah,
but,
they have a set up a protocol how you introduce yourself, where they're coming from, your name, and you will state the certain things, and then they are know if they are benevolent, they will not going to read your mind. That's against the protocol. They will know that you're doing that. So it's only the human will do each other, but it's not accepted. But those are the technical thing and procedure that once you are going into the role, they will train you. You wouldn't know what that is. And that's, to me, that's not real individual-based communication. I am saying that at this moment, when I encounter, it's not those kind of official moment. You know, it appears or come down. So how do you react? It's very important to what Andrew's teaching. Bring your heart on, bring your brain, right? Brain into your heart. That is the most difficult things to do when that happen. But I think as we do more to each other, it becomes a norm. That is a telepathic skill, and you know it. That's your soul family, or soul group, and beneficial, less beneficial at this moment of time. That doesn't necessarily is non-beneficial to Harris, or non-beneficial in the future. It's just momentous of the time you're dealing with. That's only advice I have. There's a lot more skills the community that experience with those things, but it will come down to it. It's you. It's exclusive to you. When they come down, when being come down to you, that's special, just for you. It's really just you.
And can I add to that? Just one line, I promise.
No, you can go. Go ahead. You're the one that
I know.
dealing with all the time, so go ahead.
I promise.
No, you don't need to. You can space it. You can have as much space as you want.
Time's up.
It's wonderful information that you all are bringing out, and I just love it. It means, when all the informations come out, then there's just one thing on the top that I want to add on it, because it's really, really good. Like, listen, when pay attention to the heart and connecting. I know the skull there has been sending out love to us, love,
Yeah.
love. And one thing I wanted to get us aware of is unconditional love, because that sets the whole background, that sets the whole scenario of your reality. Whoever is coming to play with you, they know that they're coming into this unconditional love reality, and that helps your connection with them. And that's what Susan was, she really wanted connection.
Hello.
Hey, baby.
He would probably teach us all. Oh, I think did you muted? Okay. So again, yes, the love, and this is where that sacred neutrality play the biggest role. I think this is something sovereignty, sacred neutrality, and you have 100% control at all time, and it really helps. But it comes as a practice. To me, it is a practice. It's not natural things, at least for me. But Susan, does it make sense?
Yeah, that's helpful. Thank you.
I'm sure we will talk about this more.
Yeah.
Christy, I think you said
I'm
listening.
here. I'm just in listening mode. It makes sense. Right now, I'm, working on removing a heart wall, and craniosacral therapy is definitely helping more with my telepathy skills, and kind of what we talked about on our first call, just trying to get used to my body.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, I guess we could talk about that a little bit more. You could have that as the topic separate because
yeah, I know.
how many
Yeah.
does it fit all? Who was that? The Harris. Yeah, it's important topics though. It's very important.
So I'm preparing myself in that way, and I continue to work on those things because I want to get it to a better place of healing, and so other than that, I'm just in listening mode right now.
No, thank you. Thank you for sharing
Thank you,
that.
Ellen.
Yes. David Skull. Yes. Harris, did you finish all you wanted to say? No. Harris? I think you muted. Zakaru?
Yes.
You're being quiet. I just want to make sure you're awake.
Yeah, you just woke me up, man. I was napping. What are you doing?
Ouch. Oh.
Now there's two of them. He cloned himself.
Okay, we hear you, Harris. Would you like to say something?
He is muted now.
Oh, hello. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, now I could.
Yes.
Yeah, we could. Yes.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, I know. I think we're now in a new now. What did I miss?
We are talking about you, and I think when your baby shows up, I said, well, maybe he could teach us all, and then you disappeared.
Oh, okay. I think it took me into another reality. Okay, I'm back there. I think I'll just finish up very quickly. The reason why I want us to be aware of that unconditional love is because that's what all our hearts are connected. And when you talk about connection, the thing that opens up the heart to the fullest is that full neutral state of unconditional love. So that helps you to connect with any entity, with myself, any being, whatever galaxy, whatever universe. We are all together. We are all one, and the heart really connects us. So unconditional love opens that up to that effect.
I think your baby is agreeing with you as well.
He is. He just wants to watch his stuffs. But I think that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted to, the information I wanted to pass to Susan, because I know she's already practicing these, but that's where it lies in. How do I connect more? Just give them, just become that. Become that, and it's just flawless. And this is the way because I was much more when I started my awakening. I was much more a mental person, and like a scientist, and I realized I had my heart space. I wanted that to open more, And as I started practicing unconditional love, and had to knock off a lot of conditions, and I had to choose the conditions I wanted, my heart space started opening up, and then my psychic abilities started coming up automatically. So that's something I just wanted to express to Susan there.
Thank
One
you.
thing too I can add to that is, oh, go ahead, Susan.
No, just want to thank you. Thank you.
Was I heard Simon Parks talk once too about if you really want to have contact. So this is just kind of a nuts and bolts technique, but it relates to what Harris was saying and your question, that get into a place of stillness, a calm, meditative, heart-based place, and go to like top of a hill somewhere that's somewhat secluded, where you can be by yourself. You don't feel like anybody's watching you or whatever. And from that heart space, ask to be contacted. And it doesn't necessarily happen like that moment. It could. But, I did that, and then for a while later I had that Syrian experience. So I don't know if that was related to what I just imagined it was, but that's something he suggested if you wanted to have contact.
Thank you. It's always better to have a reason why you want to contact it by food. The more you're clear on that, it's the right one will shows, right? Because there was probably reason why you're curious about, because anybody could have shows up.
What is that image that you're showing us, Makiko?
I wanted to move on to the next topic and I want to end it, but I just want to make sure everybody else done with this topic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Are we all okay with this today? Because I'm sorry, it's already almost 2 hours.
Yeah,
I think
we're done.
I think it was okay. All right. So let's see. In terms of moving on to this Sacred Neutral series, I like to talk about the targeted individual, the micro level, as well as mid-scale or scaled targeted, and then the weather and etc. The reason I pick this as our second round of a sacred neutrality, those are the ones that impact on our belief system. So more we understand both way, right? Spiritually, energetically, but also analytical mechanics. It really helps because we're all different. Our understanding is different. So more we hit from different angles to understand these things, like a Swiss cheese approach, and we have a different folks here in the panels, and everybody has a different way to perceive and communicate information. So I like to talk a little bit more about that so that we don't go into the adrenaline mode. Once people hear that, chemtrail or Magellan, right? Or this entity show up on me and things like that. And then, what are those? Who's doing what? And what is a telltale sign? And more importantly, what are we going to do about it? So I'd like to pick out those 3 important topics. I think that a lot of folks here, I don't think Harris is, but targeted individual from various way. So let's spend a little more time to understand that. And if you think you are, write it down, the symptom, write it down your date, write it down when it started, as if you're going to see doctor. Right? They ask you to when to start it, what's your symptom, why you think that way, right? More your description, remember what they are, and be able to track what happened. You get the correct diagnosis, you get treatment, you get better. And then even better, you could help others who have same symptom. So with that, why that it's important, I think I talk about that. Less barrier we have, more sacred neutrality we could hold. Sacred neutrality means open heart without any judgment. More information, more communication. That means the broadening your mind and conscious. Likely you'll have your soul shards back. And to me, we're more like a soul family reunion, but everybody has a different goal after that. So with this, thank you so much. I'm going to end this broadcast today, and you guys could stay if you like to stay chat. But thank you so much for attending, and have a
Thank you
great
so
rest of
much.
the weekend. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.